Hello there to every one of you. Happy Thursday lunchtime hour. It's Caroline here with Milton Coaching Collective and this week's episode of Engineering Your Energy. Hope the week is going well for all of you as we are in about that midway point between the Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays towards coming into the end of year deadlines and all of the stress that end of year brings. As we are preparing for the winter season, we might be thinking about our stress and the differences that we experience during the winter season, maybe some of the disruptions to our normal rhythms and routines. I want to invite you into my training, Burnout Prevention During Winter. This is a 90-minute one-time training where you can develop a toolkit for how to prevent burnout, how to manage stress during the winter months, knowing that there are unique challenges during the season. It comes with a complimentary seasonal workbook. This 71-page workbook will help guide you throughout the season to prompt your growth in how you experience health. So the link is on the screen here. I'll also drop it in the description so that you can claim a spot. Spaces are limited. Registration is $35. That includes the workbook. So make sure that you register today and you don't miss this. We're going to be talking at length during that training about one of my favorite topics, which is stress and the nervous system. And that's what we're going to be chatting about today. You see, we cannot understand burnout without understanding the science of stress. We also have to understand that burnout is not an individual problem, that burnout and burnout prevention and burnout recovery is a handshake between us as the individual and the cause of our burnout, perhaps our employer or our family dynamic or our community. So for a very long time, we've considered burnout to be an individual problem, and now we are understanding that especially workplace-related burnout is not just that. It is corporate, it is culture-related, and therefore must be attacked from both sides. What can we do as individuals to change our relationship with stress? What can we do as an organization to be talking about burnout and to be providing tools for our employees to better manage their well-being? So to understand this, we have to know the mechanism for stress in our body, and that is the nervous system. Our nervous system is our body's pathways for fast-moving signals. It is your neurons, your nerve cells, and is this incredible system that is helping perform all of your daily tasks. There are two branches of our nervous system. There is the parasympathetic branch of our nervous system. We'll call this P. The parasympathetic branch of the nervous system is responsible for our rest, our recovery. It's responsible for our digestion. So this P system is activated while we sleep. It's activated while we're meditating. It's activated when we're relaxed in a state of joy. The other branch is our sympathetic nervous system. We'll call this one S. When S is activated, we're in our fight or flight response. So there is a stressor and our body is responding. When we experience that stressor, our heart rate elevates, our blood flow is directed to our limbs to be able to fight back against the stressor or to run away as quickly as possible. Blood flow is prioritized to the parts of the brain responsible for quick thinking. Now, not a lot of people realize that because of this, the brain is not directing blood flow to parts that are responsible for critical thinking. So quick thinking is different than critical thinking. Now, the impact that has on our work is that if we are working in a constant state of stress, if we're stressed out in a meeting, for example, then our brain has literally turned off the critical thinking portion that can help lend itself towards problem solving, towards creativity, towards higher work output. In fact, studies have shown that employees who are experiencing significant levels of stress have a much lower productivity rate than their counterparts that aren't experiencing significant levels of stress or who are implementing effective stress management techniques. Not only that, but organizations that are providing tools and resources through employee assistance programs and other on the site or easily accessible tools are on average providing less stress to employees than organizations that are not equipping employees with these. Stressing the importance of different approaches to our methods of work. So what's happening with stress as it relates to burnout? Well, there are different types of stress that we might experience. Acute stress is like our exercise. This is stressors that last less than 2 hours in total from start to finish. Acute stress is actually really good for us. When we experience these short-term stressors, it develops new neural cells. Those cells mature over the course of 2 weeks, and it actually improves our cognitive function. It improves our memory and improves our creative thinking. So acute stress is really good for us. And if we didn't experience acute stress, well, we would miss our reason for being alive, and it would lead to symptoms of depression. So we do need stress in our life. There's also chronic stress. And chronic stress is the evil twin of acute stress. This is when we experience a stressor for longer than 2 hours. And at that point, it actually starts to impair our cognitive functioning and impair our memory and our critical thinking. Not only that, but chronic stress is related to nearly 90% of all illnesses. So chronic stress is a big deal. And when we're stuck in chronic stress, that means that the S branch of our nervous system is stuck in the on position. What a lot of people don't understand is those two branches of the nervous system, the P and the S, they modulate back and forth. So while one is on, the other is off. That means that if we're stressed out while we're going to sleep, then our parasympathetic branch, our P branch of the nervous system, can't do what it needs to do while we're asleep in terms of repairing our muscles and the strain they've experienced throughout the day, clearing out toxins from our body, consolidating memory. And while we're in that state of relaxation, we cannot turn on our stress state. They literally cannot be on at the same time. And if there is a creature, a human being on this planet who has hacked that, I want to meet them, and I have all kinds of questions. So if we want to be proactive about stress, if we want to be proactive about burnout, we need to approach the nervous system in terms of thinking about its flexibility. That means we need to move easily between those two states, which requires us to have effective tools for stress management. We need to be easily able to access the parasympathetic branch of our nervous system in order to optimize our rest, recovery, and our digestion, right? Our digestion is responsible for converting food into energy in our body. And so we want to be able to optimize that to increase our productivity. We also want to be able to effectively use stress to improve our health and to improve our productivity. And we do that through acute forms of stress. So the key here is that when we experience stressors, that we don't allow them to be prolonged for more than 2 hours. And that requires the successful implementation of stress management tools. Yes, bubble baths are great. Yes, a vacation is nice, but stress management tools go beyond that. They involve boundaries, communication, deep breathing, meditation, time away. These are all first steps in building a robust stress management toolkit. We're going to be talking more about this in next week's training, Burnout Prevention During Winter. If you'd like to join me for that, it is on Tuesday night at 7 p.m., but your registration also grants you access to the recording so you can watch it on your own time, the flexibility that you need. Hope to see you there. Would love to have you join us for that topic. Next week's Engineering Your Energy conversation is going to be focused on the topic of productivity. And that's actually going to take us through the end of the year, is that focus on productivity and the question of whether we've become too obsessed with productivity. And if there is a break-even point for the average employee on how much they should be working. So make sure that you've followed, liked, subscribed to these videos and to my profile to ensure that you don't miss another episode of Engineering Your Energy. Join me next week with the founders of BOSA, a new productivity tool that you can use on your desktop to help improve your own wellness and productivity. And we'll see you then.